In the world of politics, power and corruption often go hand in hand. Today, we delve into the stories of the 5 most corrupt politicians of all time. From bribery and fraud to abuse of power, these cases are stark reminders that no one is above the law. Number 5. Richard Nixon and the Watergate scandal. Our first story takes us back to the early 1970s in the United States. Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States, was embroiled in what became known as the Watergate scandal. This was a major political scandal that began with the break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. On June 17, 1972, 5 men were arrested for breaking into the DNC headquarters. It soon emerged that they were connected to Nixon's re-election campaign. The investigation revealed a trail of illegal activities, including wiretapping, break-ins, and attempts to sabotage political opponents. Facing inevitable impeachment, Richard Nixon became the first US president to resign from office on August 8, 1974. Number 4. Silvio Berlusconi and the Bunga Bunga parties. Our next story takes us to Italy, where media tycoon Silvio Berlusconi served as Prime Minister in 4 governments. Berlusconi's political career was marred by numerous scandals, the most notorious being the Bunga Bunga parties. The term Bunga Bunga became infamous after allegations surfaced that Berlusconi hosted wild parties involving underage girls at his villa in Arcora. Investigations revealed that he had paid for sex with a minor, Karima El Marouk, known as Ruby the Heart Stealer. In 2013, Berlusconi was convicted of paying for sex with an underage girl and abusing his power to cover it up. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison and banned from holding public office. Number 3. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Operation Car Wash. From Italy, we move to Brazil, where former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was implicated in one of the largest corruption scandals in Latin American history, Operation Car Wash. Operation Car Wash began as an investigation into money laundering and soon uncovered a vast corruption network involving the state oil company Petrobras. High-ranking officials, business executives, and politicians were found to be involved in a scheme to embezzle billions of dollars. Lula da Silva, who served as president from 2003 to 2011, was accused of receiving bribes in the form of renovations to a beachfront apartment and a countryside property. In 2017, he was convicted of corruption and money laundering and sentenced to 9.5 years in prison. Number 2. Jacob Zuma and the Gupta family. Our 4th story takes us to South Africa, where former President Jacob Zuma was embroiled in a series of corruption scandals linked to the influential Gupta family. The Guptas, a wealthy family originally from India, were accused of using their close relationship with Zuma to influence government appointments and contracts. This phenomenon became known as state capture. In 2018, under immense pressure, Zuma resigned as president. The Zondo Commission, established to investigate state capture, heard extensive testimony linking Zuma and the Guptas to corrupt activities. In 2021, Zuma was sentenced to 15 months in prison for contempt of court after refusing to appear before the commission. Number 1. Viktor Yanukovych and the Euromaidan protests. Our final story brings us to Ukraine, where former President Viktor Yanukovych was ousted in 2014 following the Euromaidan protests, which were fueled by accusations of corruption and abuse of power. The protests began in November 2013 after Yanukovych's government suspended preparations for an association agreement with the European Union, opting instead to strengthen ties with Russia. As the protests intensified, clashes between demonstrators and security forces led to numerous casualties. In February 2014, Yanukovych fled Ukraine, and his government was subsequently overthrown. The new authorities charged him with high treason and embezzlement. In 2019, Yanukovych was sentenced in absentia to 13 years in prison for treason. These 5 politicians serve as stark reminders of the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of transparency and accountability in governance. While their stories may differ, the common thread is the betrayal of public trust. In the end, justice may be delayed, but it is rarely denied. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Until next time, stay informed and stay vigilant.